All right, hello and welcome. Faculty, please be seated. I am Bonnie Gunzenhauser, Vice President for Academic Affairs here at John Carroll University, and welcome to all of you, and especially to the class of 2029, to opening Convocation. So, yes, why not? So I'm guessing that for those of you who are not wearing fancy robes, this is probably the first time you've attended something called Convocation. It's not a word we use too often in everyday life, but it is a word that you hear at universities around the country this time of year. It comes from the Latin, and it means essentially a calling together, right? A formal assembly for the members of a university community. So why do we do this? For one thing, you have had quite a week. You've left home, you've met dozens and dozens of new people, you've been oriented by our amazing staff and faculty and peer mentors, and you've been pretty much constantly on the go. Convocation is a time to take a breath, to step back, to reflect, maybe even dream a little bit about your next 4 years at John Carroll. College is a time of discovery. You've probably heard during this orientation week that one discovery goal for this first semester of college is for you to start finding your people and your place and your purpose. Finding your people and your place and your purpose in some ways is a lifelong journey, but I think you'll be surprised by how far you travel down this road by the end of the semester. All of us at John Carroll in all corners of the university are committed to walking with you as you find your people, your place, and your purpose during your time here. At the end of your 4 years here, we'll gather together like this again. You, as a class, surrounded by faculty and staff, so that we can award you your degrees, hand you your diplomas, and send you off into the world. That probably feels a long time away right now, but it will come more quickly than you think. So today, we're going to start this journey by introducing you to a couple of John Carroll rituals to help you mark this milestone. Starting college is a big deal, and I encourage you to take this convocation time to step back a little bit from the busyness of your week and really absorb that. So to get us started, it is my pleasure to invite Toby Jones from the class of 2025 and one of our admissions counselors to offer an opening reflection. Toby?
A blessing to begin the school year. God, we have many names for you, and you are beyond all names. We come before you in this holy time of beginning. We come from many places, Belize, France, Rochester, Cleveland, and everywhere in between. We know you are with us there, and help us feel that you are here on this campus as we begin. We carry with us the holy stories of our people and families. We carry the prayers of our ancestors and our saints. We carry the excitement and nervousness as we start a new chapter. Help us hear and make space to hold each other's stories. Help us to confidently share our own holy story. Bless our nervousness and our excitement. Bless our athletic, academic, and extracurricular adventures. Bless our joy and our newness. Bless our learning and our holy longings. Help us begin today to build a community of curiosity and care on this campus. Draw us close to you and to each other. Amen.
Thank you, Toby. To start us off, we want to share a video that offers some reflection on what our year's theme, Together We Thrive, means practically for each of you. The video will preview some of what you will hear from our speakers today and also introduce you to a student who was in your shoes last year. So settle in and enjoy.
Together We Thrive is both a theme for the year and kind of a call to action, right? It's a call to action that embodies our Jesuit value of accompaniment and the idea that when you start your career at John Carroll, you're going to be surrounded by a community of fellow students, peers, faculty, staff, who are all here to walk with you.
The community here is solely built on supporting one another and lifting each other up from the ground up and cheering each other on for success. One of the biggest things that you will first notice when you step on the campus is you'll be walking across the quad, you'll be walking between classes, everyone's saying hi to each other. And that's the first step to the community that we have, whether it's your friends, professors that are walking across the quad, staff. Everyone always waves and says hi. This is John Carroll, right? That's our thing. We hold doors open for people. We say hi.
This theme of Together We Thrive is not just a theme, right? It isn't just words that we're saying here today. It's a concept and an identity at John Carroll that we are committed to making true for you. And so if you feel yourself struggling or nervous or not sure where to go, there are a lot of people here who can help you.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that just a year ago, under a year ago, I was sitting in academic convocation for the first time. First year student, just got on the campus. One of the first things I would tell students that are looking for mentorship, that are maybe struggling to find mentorship or maybe not know where to start, the first step is to reach out to your peer mentors, the peer mentors in your academic advising cohort. They're there for you. They want to help you, they want to mentor you, and that's their closest resource. Text them, email them, reach out to them because they do want to mentor you. That's what they're there for. The second thing I would say is reach out to your professors, right? Reach out to faculty, reach out to staff, anybody, because they want to see their students succeed, not just in their class, but in their time at John Carroll and in their, their adulthood, their life. So go to their office hours, see them outside of class. And if those don't work for you, come talk to me. I'll be your first. I'll lend a helping hand.
If you do college right, it's going to be hard. And that's a good thing. But hard also means uncomfortable at times. You are going to come up against work that is difficult for you to do. You're going to come up against ideas that are unfamiliar and maybe hard to integrate. Don't be frightened of that discomfort. That discomfort means that growth is happening. And what I can tell you is that you've come to the right place to do that growth, because you are going to be surrounded by people who are here to support you as you find yourselves in those uncomfortable places. And it's through a whole bunch of discomfort, punctuated by some really good times, that you're going to come out a John Carroll graduate who is a fully transformed and bettered person.
It's now my pleasure to invite to the podium our president, Dr. Al Mikiak, to say some words of welcome. Please join me in welcoming him.
Thank you, Bonnie. Welcome and congratulations to our class of 2029. You made it, right? You passed the first challenge of the semester and probably learned life's most important lesson: must be present to win. So we are very grateful that you are here. Welcome to John Carroll. Welcome to the new academic year, and welcome to an amazing life. When we leave here today, we'll all go in many different directions, but at the heart of this and every liberal arts college and university is an invitation. And really, that invitation is what Robert Harris describes as this, and I quote, "The chance to learn the tools of examination and analysis so that you can develop your own opinions, attitudes, values, and beliefs, based not on the authority of parents, peers, or professors, and not on ignorance, whim, or prejudice, but on your worthy apprehension, examination, and evaluation of argument and evidence." So we live in a perfectly imperfect world, 8.2 billion souls, which organize in 195 countries, use 180 currencies, weathers over 1,000 microclimates, flies several thousand national and local flags, and speaks 6,800 languages. Surely there is more than one way to understand it all. Our community has shown itself to be willing, able, patient, and loving. We have shown an ability to stand together in this imperfect world and ask for each other's grace as we listen for the Spirit to speak to us in the ordinary and practical details of our daily interactions. We have shown the willingness to accompany one another as we discover and fulfill our one true purpose. And we have dared to break free of the narrow, cramped space of our tightly held points of view and strived to live for others. It's what brings you here, and it's what keeps many of us here, our faculty, coaches, librarians, advisors, tutors, counselors, administrators. We are invested in our shared fare in an active dialogue across differences. We all want to give our gifts to the world in need of grace, love, forgiveness, and peace. So remember that each of you belong here. Know that, feel that, and practice it. Most importantly, share it, offer it to each other. So in your prep work for this year on shift, at some point in your college life, you'll encounter a difficult emotional situation, and the chapter you read by Ethan Cross talks about developing the WOOP methodology: wish, outcome, obstacle, and plan. And just like the Navy SEALs you read about, the planning and practice, your responses to tough situations can become automatic. And as Cross goes on to say, find the tools that work for you, and once you do, work on strengthening the likelihood that you will use them when you need them most via this WOOP methodology. That's page 203. So, next you're going to hear from Dr. Lisa D'Amour. And Dr. D'Amour provides a vivid and potent example of a life pursued with optimism, purpose, and conviction. She reminds us that life is ultimately the long game, a series of exchanges and situations that rise and fall on the choices that we make, how we respond to what life throws at us. She reminds us that knowing who you are and remaining true to who you are is what will open pathways to wellness and happiness. So let's all embrace and learn from our differences, count them among our greatest blessings. I guarantee if you challenge your assumptions about your capabilities and limitations, you will discover how far you can go. Welcome to John Carroll.
Thanks, President Mikiak. It is now my pleasure to introduce you to our keynote speaker, Dr. Lisa D'Amour. This week, a lot of you watched the film Inside Out 2. I bet some of you had seen it before, which is really all about emotions. Dr. D'Amour served as a consultant for this film, and she's also a friend and collaborator of Dr. Ethan Cross, who wrote the book chapter that you read and talked about this week. As a clinical psychologist, a 3-time New York Times best-selling author, internationally recognized expert on child and adolescent development, Dr. D'Amour has dedicated her career to supporting the well-being of others. Among her many roles, she co-hosts the popular podcast Ask Lisa, The Psychology of Parenting, and is a regular contributor to national media. Dr. D'Amour began her career at the Yale Child Study Center, earned her doctorate in clinical psychology from the University of Michigan, and for over 11 years taught right here at John Carroll. Through her clinical work, her writing, and her teaching, she continues to shape how we understand and support young people. I know you'll love hearing from her. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Lisa D'Amour.
Thank you. So I'd like to thank John Carroll for inviting me to speak with you today. It's a huge honor to be here. And welcome to college, right? This is an exciting new chapter. And I'm excited for you. Now, as you are making your way to college, some of you may have been told that you are about to embark on the best 4 years of your life. All right, as much as it is really well-meaning when somebody says this, it's actually not my favorite thing to say to young people, because I think it sets up an unhelpful and unrealistic expectation that this whole thing is going to be great, which, of course, it isn't. It can't be. Instead, what I'm here to tell you, this is obvious, you are about to embark on the next 4 years of your life. And you'll have wonderful days, and you'll also have really hard days. And I promise you that what's going to matter most when you look back on these 4 years is how you handled the hard days. That's what's going to really matter. So, John Carroll, and I was glad to contribute to the thinking on this, has already given you a leg up on this by having you read that chapter from my dear friend and colleague Ethan Cross's book, Shift. And, that book is about, that chapter is about what we call as psychologists emotion regulation. Okay, the term emotion regulation is about as dry and cardboard as a term we could come up with in psychology, but it actually describes a really, really important idea. And here's the idea. There is no getting around the fact that you're going to have uncomfortable and unwanted emotions. These are a done deal. Not only will you have them from time to time, you may even have them often. And the way that we view these as psychologists is that they are important, they are informative, but they need to be managed. And that's what emotion regulation is all about. And the chapter that you read in Shift and the work you have done with it is all about recognizing your emotions, but making sure they don't get in the way of the goals that you have for yourself. This also comes up in Inside Out too. And I love that film, and not because I just got to work on it, but I will say, if life ever offers you the opportunity to work with Pixar, to go back and forth, to see early drafts of their films, I strongly recommend you take it. It was about as much fun as anything I've ever gotten to do as a psychologist. But what I love about this film is that it's built into the idea of the film itself. Riley, the main character, who's 13 in the most recent installment, has 9 emotions that are tracked through the film. And what's really interesting is 8 of them are uncomfortable emotions. Only 1 is a comfortable emotion, joy. The other 8 are actually emotions we tend to feel like we don't really want. And what's so key about this film and what's so important about the message it sends is they are all treated as normal, they are all treated as natural, they are all treated as part of Riley's life, but they do, however, need to be managed. The film gets at something really fundamental that I want us all to share as an understanding, which is about what mental health is. And this is a point of a lot of confusion right now in our culture. You may have gotten the message from any variety of sources that being mentally healthy is about feeling good. That's not true. It's never been true. And I think that that's part of why the film is so important to me, is that she has all these emotions. They're not about feeling good. Many of them are not about feeling good, and yet she is quite mentally healthy. Instead, being mentally healthy is about having feelings that fit what's actually happening and managing those feelings well. So this is a big moment in your life. There are a lot of feelings in this room. Some of you may be missing your families. Okay, that fits what's happening. This is a big step. Some of you may be really anxious about classes starting and wondering what the work will be like and if you can do it. That's okay. That fits what's happening. Those are exactly the emotions that make sense in this moment. The presence or absence of those emotions says nothing about your sturdiness or your capacities. All that matters is what you do with those feelings. Do you handle them in a way that brings relief and does no harm? Or do you handle them in a way that brings relief but comes at a cost? That's really what you want to focus on. Okay. Well, a lot of the feelings you're having right now and that you'll have in the coming days are going to be very specific to you. There's one feeling that I think all of you are having or are going to have, and I want to focus on that, and it's stress. Stress. Now, I can be pretty confident that there's a lot of stress in this room, and I'll tell you why. As psychologists, we have some rules, and one of our rules is that change equals stress. Good change, bad change, whether you want it, whether you don't want it, change equals stress. This is true now, this has always been true, this will be true for the rest of your life. And needless to say, going to college is a big change. It is inherently stressful. You're going to have to find new friends. You're going to have to get used to living in a new place and away from your families. You're going to have to do college level work, and that will be a change for all of you. This is going to require a lot of adaptation. Adaptation is demanding. You will feel stressed by it. That doesn't mean anything's wrong. It means you're having the right feeling at the right time. And what it's going to come down to is how you handle it. Now, here's some really good news about stress. Almost always, when you feel stressed, what it means is that you are growing. Because when you're stressed, what it means is that you're working at the edge of your current capacity. And it's in working at the edge of our current capacity that we actually expand our capacities. So I want you to think about stress and growth going hand in hand. And here, actually, I want to share with you a metaphor that's really useful and I think will come in handy both in the coming days, in the coming years, and I actually think for the rest of your life. It's really helpful to think about psychological stress the way we think about physical stress, and specifically the way we think about strength training, right? A lot of you lift weights. Everybody knows how lifting weights works. And what we know about lifting weights is that it doesn't actually feel all that great, and that's how you know it's working. If you are going to the gym and lifting weights and it feels good, you are totally doing it wrong, right? The whole point is to get to a place where you are literally stressed. And in strength training, we accept that is where the growth happens, and that's only where the growth happens. And what's interesting is, in the context of the gym, we're totally okay with that. We really get it. Like, I've gone to the gym, I've worked out really hard, I've gotten to an uncomfortable place, that's where the action is. It will help you to think about college in the same way. As you push yourself, as you are feeling stressed, anytime you are feeling that, whether it's in class, whether it's getting used to living in a dorm, what you want to remember is you are growing. It may not feel good, but that doesn't mean it's not good for you. You are getting something out of it. Okay, what I just shared with you, most people do not know. And you've probably noticed this. Stress in general has gotten a very bad name. A lot of people walk around with the idea that you're not supposed to be stressed, right? That that's a bad thing, or that all stress is somehow toxic. Okay, it is definitely true that stress from time to time gets to levels that are not healthy. This is true in trauma. This is true if stress is unrelenting. But most of the time, stress is healthy and it is growth-giving. And it's important for you to know this, because if you don't know this, what happens is you become stressed about being stressed, right? If you have this idea that it's bad for you, you're then stressed, and then you've got two problems because you're like, oh no, now I'm stressed. Okay, you can cut off the second one. Yes, you're stressed. It usually means you're growing. Now we can take this strength training metaphor and we can push it even further in helping us manage stress. So whether you lift weights or everybody knows about this, what you know is that people who are serious about strength training value their time in the gym as much as they value their time recovering from what they did at the gym. Right? In order to build muscle, you actually have to deliberately get your body to a place that's quite uncomfortable, stressful, unpleasant, and then there has to be adequate time for those muscles to rest and to repair and recover, so you can actually go back to the gym and lift even heavier weights. So the key here is not to sweat the stress so much. The stress is a done deal. You've come here to grow. There's going to be a lot of stress. The key here is actually to focus on rest and recovery, because that's the other half of the equation. And so here is the equation. And if you remember nothing else from what I've said to you today, this is all I want you to remember. Stress plus rest equals growth. Stress plus rest equals growth. So you don't need to be scared of stress. You don't need to avoid it. You want to focus on questions of recovery. That is what's going to help you thrive. All right. Now, you have gotten yourself to this fine university, and a lot of you have gotten here because you're better at working than you are at resting. That's not going to work for you over time. In order to thrive, to really thrive, you're also going to have to be good at resting and recovering, which is not something we talk about nearly enough. But again, it's not stress that causes growth. It's stress plus rest that causes growth. So I want you to think about getting good at recovery. What's ahead of you is hard. You're going to need to get good at recovery. So here, I'm going to give you some straight up advice about what it means to get good at recovery, because this is going to be essential now. It's going to be essential for you forever. So the first thing I want you to reflect on is, how do you recover? What does recovery look like for you? This is highly specific. The only thing that is generic is that everybody recovers through sleep. Sleep is essential for recovery. Whatever else, protect your sleep. That is absolutely key. Beyond that, some of you may recover by hanging out with people. Some of you may recover by being alone. Some of you may recover by watching a show you love. Some of you may recover by reading. Some of you may recover by being in nature. Some of you may recover by listening to music. Whatever you do, do what works for you. It is specific. It is personal. Second, watch out for recovery that isn't really recovery. This is something I struggle with all the time. For me, my number one culprit is my phone. When I am feeling tired or stressed, I will turn to it and just start seeing what's there. And here's what I find. Sometimes I find things that give me a boost. Sometimes I find things that make me feel uneasy. And I would say pretty much all the time what really happens is I get some weird mix of that all. I feel kind of like worse and better having looked at my phone. And the bottom line is, there are better ways to recover. If I know I need to recover, I know what is guaranteed to restore me. And it's actually going on a walk with a friend. That is my thing. That's how I recover. Third, build recovery into your routine. Now, I'm going to take a little detour on routines because psychologists love routines. We're actually kind of obsessed with them. Here's why we love routines. First of all, decision-making is taxing. Deciding what to do with yourself takes a lot of mental energy. If you wake up every day and you're like, okay, what are we doing? How's today going to unfold? You are going to waste a lot of bandwidth figuring out step by step how your day is going to go. If, however, you have a good routine, it reduces your decision making. You basically just push play. You know what you're going to do and you know when. It frees up your bandwidth for other pursuits. The other reason that psychologists really like routines is they reflect our priorities. Wherever we're spending our time, that's what we care about. So think a lot about your routines and think about what's in them, because whatever's in your routine, you're saying is something that's important to you. So back to managing stress. You should have a really good sense of how you recover, what works for you, and you should have a good sense of when you do this. When is it in your routine? Do you always have dinner with friends on Wednesday night? Do you always watch a particular show once you've got your work done? The bottom line here is, do not wait until you are really, really stressed out to figure out how you are going to recover. Build it into your routine. I will tell you, I take a walk with a friend twice a week. We have it scheduled. If I'm feeling good, I come back feeling better. If I'm feeling lousy, I don't have to figure out what I'm going to do to feel better. It's already in my routine. So what do? You're going to figure this out. Now, while we're talking about routines, let me take a moment to note that the section you worked on in Shift is actually about creating a routine. The WHOOP process is about this idea that when you face emotional challenges, you shouldn't have to invent it every time what you're going to be doing. You have a routine you can fall back on. All right, so back to the all-important topic of recovery. Let me just recap the advice I've given you so far. First of all, embrace the idea that stress plus rest equals growth. Recovery is essential. Second, know what counts as recovery for you. Third, watch out for recovery that isn't really recovery, that doesn't leave you feeling restored. And then next, build time into your routine for recovery. All right, I have one more piece of advice on the topic of recovery, and I think this is a really important one. Having made time for rest and recovery, having decided what works for you, having set aside time in your routine, once you are recovering, don't feel guilty about it. This is something I see all the time. Hardworking people who have done the work, they've completed the project, they've done what they meant to do, and they finally let themselves rest because intuitively they know that they need it, but they spend the whole time feeling a little bit bad about it, right? They're watching their show and they're thinking, but I could be getting some work done right now. Okay, don't do it. Don't do it. Here's how I see it. Guilt-soaked recovery isn't really recovery. And it's good recovery, enjoying your recovery that you have earned, that's going to make all the difference in terms of how you thrive as a college student. Okay, so as you launch yourself into life at John Carroll University, I encourage you, embrace the hard work ahead, lean into it. Don't be scared of stress. It's good for you, even if it doesn't always feel good. Lean into the recovery that you have earned and that you deserve and that is absolutely essential to your growth. And know that creating the conditions that allow you to grow here, that's your job. But I will also glad to tell you that it's the job of the university as well. It is the job of John Carroll to help create the conditions that help you grow. And what I'm really glad to say is that John Carroll is incredibly good at this job. I am thrilled for each of you that you have landed at this place that is challenging and caring. I promise you, you will be pushed and you will be supported. And I want you to know that we are so, so glad that you are here. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. 4 years from now, when we gather like this again for commencement, you will hear the alma mater sung there. It's a John Carroll ritual that connects alums across the generation, and now it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Ed Peck, our Vice President for Mission and Identity. He first is going to sing it for you, and then get ready, because second, he is going to sing it with you. So, Ed, let me...
Thank you, Dr. Gunzenhauser. And Lisa, thanks for that great message. It just so happens that I like to recover by singing. Not alone, but with people. So you're all going to be part of my recovery program. How's that? So I have a bet with some of your sophomore navigators that they don't think you can sing as loudly as they did last year. They raised the roof last year when we did this. So I'm going to challenge all of you to sing from your depths of your souls, from your feet, nice and loud and proud as we learn together your alma mater, okay? So I'm going to take the risk of singing it by myself, and then I'm going to invite you all to stand up and sing it with me as loud as you can. If you want to wrap your arms around the people around you, go right ahead. You can sway, that's allowed. The louder the better in my book. And I think you all have it in your tags. There's a card, so you could retrieve that card. I think it's blue. And it's behind me, so forget the card, just look up. How's that? I'd like to introduce you to Rose on the piano and Larry. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, hit it, guys. Hail to Carroll, gather near her, let your joyful anthem ring. Sound your mother's praise, revere her, her fair name full proudly sing. Loyal ever, brave and true, daughters, sons of Carroll, you pledge our love to alma mater, to the gold and blue. Pledge our love to alma Mater, to the gold and blue. Join in nice and loud. Hail to Carroll, gather near her. Let your joyful anthem ring. Sound your mother's praise, revere her. Her fair name full proudly sing. Loyal, ever brave and true. Daughters, sons of Carroll, you pledge our love to Alma Mater, to the gold and blue. Pledge our love to Alma Mater, to the gold and blue. Nice job, everyone. Thank you, class of 2029. We'll do that again in 4 years, if not before.
You'll have a chance to practice that every week at tower time, so I invite you to enjoy that as well. So, one more ritual to close us out. You each received a small light as you came in. They're off now. Cue, they're off now, but in just a minute, I will ask you to flip the switch. You've probably heard several times this week, and maybe before you ever got here, that St. Ignatius of Loyola was the founder of the Jesuit order, and the Jesuit order gave rise to a lot of different educational institutions, including, starting in 1886, John Carroll University. Lots of quotes get attributed to St. Ignatius, and one of the most well-known is the one you see on the screen here. It is said that St. Ignatius told his followers to go forth and set the world on fire. During your first days on campus, you've heard about the power and possibilities of college and of community. You've met a lot of people who want you to thrive here. And now, to give you a moment to reflect on what it might mean for you to use your John Carroll experience as a launching pad to go forth and set the world on fire, let me invite you to, here's your cue, turn on your lights, hold them up, sit back, take a deep breath. And now, as you do that, it is my pleasure to invite Father John Fitzgibbons of the Society of Jesus, Superior of the Jesuit Community, to the podium to offer a benediction. Keep your lights on, close your eyes if you like, and listen to Father Fitzgibbons.
Light and goodness, let it be. Heavens and earth, day and night, water, sky, and earth. The great parade of natural kinds nurtured by earth fills the horizons. Waters teem and trees flower, fertility, multiplicity. Creeping creatures urgent and easy, wild and gentle, small and great. God is the original environmentalist, the first cause of all our species, the eternal lover of diversity. Good, yes. The final nature, a human one. That nature given all else. A gift to name, nurture, and affirm. All is benediction, and the human made specially in the likeness of God is empowered to know existence and pronounce it all as good. Even now, we are assumed, wrapped in the arms of God. The assumption into heaven happened. It happens still. It happens to all, body and soul. Good and loving God, we thank you for creating the world and all its beauty. We thank you for memory which enables us to build on the experiences of the past. For imagination, which admits us to the wider world, a world we could never otherwise have known. And for foresight, by which we plan the future. Bless our work, especially bless the unseen work that we do on behalf of our own being, the students, the faculty, the staff, who, through their Jesuit education, will strive to make a difference in the world for the better. We know the real measure of our Jesuit university lies in who our students become. We bring this to you, Almighty God. We ask this in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you. Now, it's time to go forth and set the world on fire. But on your way to doing that, we want to take a group photo, and we want to introduce you to some of Cleveland's finest popsicles. So, your next move is to please follow the ushers out as directed and gather on the steps just outside the building. Hang on just 1 second so that we can take a photo. Cue the music, and off we go.